Good morning, you're watching the Channel 9 Breakfast Show on Thursday, the 26th of March. And joining us now is Mark Pearson from Betfred with some top tips on where to put your money this weekend. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
And yourself?
Very well. Right, let's start with Formula One. It starts this weekend in Australia. It's live on the BBC, and you'd think Lewis Hamilton would be favourite, wouldn't you?
You'd have thought so, yeah.
Let's have a look at the odds. He is not favourite. This is because of a testing. Raikkonen is favourite, of course, who drives for Ferrari, and his teammate Massa is third favourite. Alonso, who drives for Renault, is second favourite, 9-2. Now, Lewis Hamilton is 6-1, but we've not seen a bean for the Englishman. His girlfriend may be sauce, but we've not even seen a penny for Lewis Hamilton. And in fact, if he wasn't English, I think he'd be probably 10-1, because his car has not done very well in testing whatsoever. Look at his teammate, Kovalainen. Yeah. Similar car, McLaren. Kovalainen's a massive 40-1. So, unfortunately, at the moment, you can discount Lewis Hamilton.
Really?
However, early on in the week, Jenson Button was a huge 80-1. He's come into 6-1 because the Brawn car has done so well. Brawn, of course, owned by the former engineer from Ferrari. So that's all starts on Sunday in Australia as well. And Jenson Button is favourite to win the Australian Grand Prix at the moment.
Has he won a Grand Prix yet, Jenson Button?
I think he's won 1 in 50.
Right, 1 in 50.
1 in 50.
Well, it's better than none, though,
Not great odds there,
exactly. Exactly. Right, now, there's some absolutely fantastic sport on the television tonight. Darts.
Oh.
You can't beat arrows, can you?
Love the
world's greatest athlete is playing Barneveld, and Taylor's 11-4 on, Barneveld 4-1. Taylor dipped in form at the beginning of the Premier League darts, but he's now averaging over 100 again, and the world's greatest athlete, 14 times world champion, is back. Now,
why is he the world's greatest athlete, Mark?
Well, he's won the World Championship 14 times. 14 times. That's why he's the world's greatest athlete. But I just want to say something. Mervyn King is playing tonight. Oh. What is the governor of the Bank of England doing playing darts when the economy's in such a state?
It's a valid question.
It's a question we'll have to ponder throughout the rest of the morning. I know it's up there, mate. You've got the boat race as well.
Yes, the boat race this weekend. Oxford, Cambridge. Oxford have won 3 of the last 4. It's the 155th boat race. Oxford, the heaviest crew ever. Really? They average 15 stone, 9 pound, 13 ounces, when Cambridge only average 15 stone and 1 pound. That's why we've got Oxford at 7-2 on. They are the best boat, and they should win that, and they're odds on to do it.
What are the odds for one of them sinking, though? I mean, just put you on the spot a little bit.
It has happened before. Yeah. 16-1 for the draw. I tell you what, for sinking, I'll give you, Byron, 25-1.
Right, I'll take that.
All right, I'll give you a quid for charity.
Sticking a £1 on then.
Yeah, exactly. Stick a pound on, only gamble what you can afford to lose. Now, quickly, I'm going to finish with the title race. A lot has been written. I've heard a lot about Liverpool over the last few days, that Liverpool are now the greatest team in the world. Well, we don't see that at Betfred. We still have United odds on 3-1 to win the title. 3-1 on, sorry. So you need to put £3 on to win £1. We have Liverpool now second favourites at 11-4, and Chelsea our third favourites at 16-1. Of course, the football this weekend is a friendly, England against Slovakia. But there are some qualifiers: Northern Ireland versus Poland, Republic versus Bulgaria, Wales versus Finland, and Scotland at Holland. And Oldham, Bury and Rochdale are in action. So there's plenty of football. It's not just about England.
No, then. Yeah, thank you very much. The mighty Mark Pearson, ladies and gentlemen, from Betfred. Good to see you again. We'll see you again next Friday for the odds for the Grand National. The
Grand National, my favourite race of the year. I'm going to give you both charity bets. You're already up on, because you had a charity bet on the Gold Cup, didn't you? Exotic Dancer, that finished in the frame as well. Only ever gamble what you can afford to lose, or you'll end up being a poor boy from a poor family.
Yes. I like it. Reference to Queen.
And speaking of which, let's get the latest headlines with Ben Bland.
Good morning. Greater Manchester news in a moment, but first, news is reaching us that 14 people have died and 4 were injured after a head-on crash between a bus and a lorry in central Russia. That news being reported by Russian television this morning. Back here, staff at Manchester Prison refused to allow a probation officer in because he couldn't take off his shoes. Stephen Davis was due to interview a prisoner ahead of a case at Manchester Crown Court. But because Mr Davis is disabled, he couldn't take off his specially adapted shoes to put them through the X-ray machine, and security staff wouldn't let him pass, even though he had been allowed in before. As a result, the court case was put off until April, wasting thousands of pounds of taxpayers' money, and the judge has launched an investigation. Police and the fire service are investigating a blaze that left firefighters battling to stop an electricity substation from overheating last night. 25 firefighters attended a fire at a timber flat that was under construction at Quantock Close, near the substation in Heaton Norris. No one is believed to have been hurt, but it's thought the fire was started deliberately. Leaders of the world's 20 richest countries have been advised that drawing up rules for financial markets would be useless in preventing a future economic crisis. The report by the think tank, the Institute of Public Policy Research, says there needs to be an international regulator to police the markets instead. It comes as Gordon Brown arrives in Brazil today, ahead of next week's G20 summit in London, as he tries to get countries to agree on measures to tackle the recession. Bolton Council has been cleared of wrongdoing over its investments in an Icelandic bank. When the Landsbanki Group collapsed, the authority confirmed at the time it had £6 million deposited in Iceland. A report published today by the council watchdog found that Bolton was among the councils that took notice of warnings that the bank was in trouble, but it criticised 7 other local authorities in England as negligent for continuing to deposit money despite the bank's poor credit ratings. Meanwhile, it's emerged that between them, councils across the country have used anti-terror powers to snoop on people for minor offences 10,000 times since the law was introduced 5 years ago. Among the offences were dog fouling, littering and taking lights from a Christmas tree. The details were revealed in a Freedom of Information request put in by the Liberal Democrats, who warn that it's an erosion of civil liberties. A man's due in court later following the death of an off-road motorcyclist in Salford. Adam Jarmer, who was 18, died following an incident on Phoebe Street on Monday. Stephen Britton of Cloughfield Avenue in Ordsall will appear before Salford magistrates charged with causing death by dangerous driving. Teachers are considering a boycott of next year's SATs tests for primary school children. 2 teaching unions will ask their members to vote on the move. They say many teachers and head teachers are angry that the tests in maths, English and science are going ahead for 7- and 11-year-olds after they were scrapped in secondary schools last year. You could soon be watching adverts giving advice on abortion after a shake-up of the rules that currently restrict it. Adverts for condoms could also appear in the evenings at prime time if the changes are made. The proposals have been put forward to try and halt the high number of teenage pregnancies in this country. One of Britain's biggest independent pregnancy advisory services has already welcomed the idea. Now, the Stars were out in force last night for the official opening of the Queen musical We Will Rock You, as the curtain went up on its first UK tour. Nina Warhurst was there and caught up with a few of her celebrity pals at the Palace Theatre.
It's only Robbie Williams right here in Manchester to support his best mate Jonathan Wilkes, who's starring in the musical We Will Rock You as it goes on its very first UK tour.
And Robbie isn't the only star who didn't want to miss the first night. In fact, all of the celebs seem to agree that Manchester is the perfect rock and roll city to open a regional tour.
It's the rock and roll city, isn't it? No, I think so, when you've got some great bands that come from Manchester.
Well, it is a next, you know, I suppose next to London it's like really happening. I love it here. That's why I moved here.
Oh, my hometown. Couldn't be more important, and I love it when shows, you know, instead of people having to go to London to see shows, the shows go out to them. Rock and roll, Manchester.
Oh, blooming heck, yes, we're very excited. I've got to go get my tickets, so I can't stay long. But yeah, we're very excited.
Some friend of Channel M you are. Paddy, how rock and roll is Manchester?
Very! It's always been a wacky city. Ever since it started in the 1700s, it's notorious for it.
So the perfect place to kick off the tour?
Absolutely, yes. Now the Colosseum in Rome is finished, you might as well come here.
So what's it all about? Well, it's much more than a tribute act covering old classics. The show's set in the future, when rock and roll has come to save our collective soul from the predictable pop that's taken over the world. And everyone's invited to the party.
It's incredibly wide-ranging, and all countries in London you see an incredible mix. You look around and you'll see granddads with their grandsons and granddaughters, all doing it, all getting up and shouting and screaming and singing, and it's a good time thing. It seems to spread across generations.
And of course, it includes all the classics.
Bohemian Rhapsody is always a pretty good bet, you know.
It was a thrill to see it done properly on stage, because we could never recreate the whole of it on stage. But now, with you know, like 30, whatever many people on stage, all singing, we can do that.
Indeed they can, but try getting a celeb to give you a line of their favourite Queen song, and there's no chance.
I think it's got to be the classic We Are the Champions. Sorry.
Oh, will you give us a line?
No, I can't sing. Got a sore throat. Bohemian Rhapsody.
Got to see Bo Rap, innit? Bohemian Rhapsody.
You're going to give us a line of it?
Bo Rap.
Bo Rap.
Give us a line of Bo Rap, come on.
No. I've been listening to him for years, and they were the best band ever, as far as I'm concerned.
Please, will you belt out a line for us?
No, I will not. Excuse me, madam.
We are the champions.
Very good.
We are the champions.
Come on, Jenny.
No, I don't sing.
No time for losers like us, that's
no,
what it is.
Nina Warhurst, Channel M News.
It looked like she had plenty of fun. That's it from me this morning. Pete Spencer and Byron have got your sport now, but I'll be back at noon with the lunchtime news. Join me then if you can. In the meantime, have a very good morning.
A few newspaper stories to rattle through this morning as we finish off the sport in this morning's breakfast show, and back pages of the MEN dominated with news from Munich.
Yeah, Frank Ribery has emerged again as a target for Manchester City in the summer. Of course, and he plays for Bayern Munich, of course. He would, if City did get him in the summer, and there is a reasonable chance, despite what people are saying in Germany, that would put the writing on the wall for Robinho, because there's questions being asked about him all the time. And whatever you might read elsewhere, I do think Mark Hughes is not particularly impressed by his work rate, because Mark Hughes' style is to have hard-working players such as Bellamy, and players who he's chosen. I remember when they signed him, he was on the golf course at Worsley. I saw that, and he wasn't directly involved in it. Whatever anyone says, he is not his sort of player.
He made a very public statement suggesting that Robinho will stay next season, and he is an important member of the team. Is that towing the company line, or do you think that's genuinely what he thinks?
I think it's the former.
Right, OK.
I think it is the company line. I think he's much more the sort of player that Hughes would like. I think he will definitely go for him or Henry. City do need a top-notch player to project them onto the world stage. Bellamy has been a godsend to them, and it's Hughes' choice that matters. He's the manager, he wants to pick the players.
OK, England are in action at the weekend, and Capello's told Rooney to calm down.
Yeah, he has that. It hasn't surprised me, because Rooney has got to change his ways. He's obviously a great talent, but he does have this petulant streak, him and Ronaldo, as it happens. And you saw the back page of the Manchester Evening News earlier this week, where we're saying, get a grip. Yeah. These two players need to sort themselves out, because they can't be turning on referees and fouling, making ridiculous fouls, and that strange throwback, which was over-aggressive. All these things go against the respect programme. Referees are there to clamp down on it, because it goes into grassroots football as well. And if they don't, they're not going to play as many matches, and that's what they're paid to do. And United are going to miss some of these players when they play Aston Villa, which is now a crucial game.
I'm not going to suggest for a minute that the respect programme shouldn't be adhered to, but Rooney's attitude on the pitch, his aggression and his style, is that not just part of why he's so good and why he's such a prolific goal scorer?
Well, if you wanted to sit here and talk about the respect programme for 10 minutes, I most certainly will do.
No, really, I don't.
Good. Well, the bottom line is that football in this country needs to sort itself out, because the way that some of the top performers are appearing on TV and shouting and bawling at referees is going right down into the grassroots game, and it's having a bad effect. And football has said it'll get its act in order. The top referees aren't doing the work that they should be doing in terms of disciplining them, and they need to learn a lesson, and learn a lesson quickly, because if they don't, top players like Rooney and Ronaldo won't be playing for Manchester United in key games when they're needed. and paid a fortune to do so, because we worked it out that United team is paid £100 million a year, and it was been assembled at cost £180 million, and basically they need to be able to control the temper. It's not that difficult, you know.
Well, hey, I know, you're preaching converted here, Pete. I'm about as mellow as a mouse. Thank you very much for joining us on this morning's breakfast show, Pete, and hopefully see you again next week. Time now for a short break. Coming next, we find out about a fun way to keep fit. Plus, we chat to 2 local hairdressers who will be battling it out, snipping away in the L'Oreal Hair Awards. We'll see you soon.